A couple of years back, I used to be very overwhelmed when it comes to deadline, task, etc. Until I discovered two things that helped me move from being overwhelmed to becoming more productive. We've got 24 hours every day, and as adults, you need 6 hours to sleep to be happy. You've got 18 hours left. Out of these 18 hours, you discover that others are more productive than you are. How come? You should ask yourself. If you are not rich enough to buy time, you should do what I did. I discovered two things. Number one is what we call the Eisenhower matrix. Others call it the priority matrix. This is a matrix that divides your work into four things. One is do first, two is schedule, three is delegate, four is delete. The tasks that you have to do first are those tasks that are urgent and important. Now, how do you determine if a task is urgent and important? You determine a task is urgent and important if something is going to break if you do not do them, or if there is a consequences to you not doing them. This is a sign that this task is urgent and important. Example, you run an e-commerce store and your website is down. That's a typical example of a task that you have to go fix right now because your business depends on your website, right? Or you get a complaint from the customer about an order that just got broken and stuff like that. You need to go fix that one right now. You don't have to waste time because your customers needs to be happy for you to have a business. That's the do first kind of a task. Then there are tasks that you have to schedule. These are tasks that are not urgent but are important. If a task is not urgent but important, you have to schedule them, and that's because you can do it at a later date. For example, you are trying to create a content calendar for the month of April. April is a couple of months or weeks away. You can just do that later. And that's a typical use of your time so that you can focus on the tasks that are due first. Just ensure you use the calendar so you don't forget. Then there are tasks that you have to delegate. These are tasks that are urgent but are not important. These are tasks that are also not directly connected to your skills. Maybe you need to outsource them. You need others to help you do them before you can move to next steps. You just have to delegate those kind of a task. That way, people that can have that as a do first on their own project can just help you do it for you. That's one of the best things you can do. Then there are tasks that you have to delete or eliminate. These are tasks that are not urgent and are not important. This task should not waste your time. These are kind of distractions as far as I call them. Then the second discovery was what we call the work breakdown structure. Work breakdown structure help you streamline your task in a canonical hierarchy. Canonical hierarchy in the sense of you have an understanding that A comes before B and B comes before C, not the other way around. For example, you are working on a building project, and at first you need people who should do the landscaping, right? That's very typical. Then you also need architects who should design the building. Then you need building engineers who should translate the design into what it should be, who should source for the building materials, and etc. That's a typical example of like a work breakdown structure where things have to come first before the other. You can't get a building engineer before an architect, and under what the architect is doing, there are other sub kind of task under what the architect is doing, and also the building engineer, there's some sub task under what the building engineer is doing. That's a typical example of how a work breakdown structure works. And these two things, Eisenhower matrix and work breakdown structure, can really transform how you work. It can really change what you're doing from being overwhelmed to becoming more